What's good? We're back with this week's weekly content creation prompt, and I had a couple of meetings going on, so I'm getting my notes in front of me. Um, the idea behind this weekly prompt is I want to give you guys something as business owners that you can use to create content to drive business to yourself. That is the entire concept of my school community. That's the entire concept of my private Facebook group for the content to cash machine. I really want you guys to get in the habit and start building the repetition and getting the muscles together so that you can start creating the the stuff, like start posting consistently, because and it goes to a larger piece, it goes to a larger framework that I really need to for y'all to wrap your minds around. More times than not, success isn't determined um you know by all this over preparation and stuff that people end up doing. A lot of times the metric that determines whether you're going to be successful or not, sorry, I'm looking for my notes here. The thing that's going to determine whether you're going to be successful or not is who executes and who does not execute. Period. That is the ending point. The people that actually go out and execute typically have success. The people that do not go out and execute don't have success. So that is kind of the framework that we're operating off of. And it's important to put this down because it goes in line, and it's in line in sync with my idea that by and large, New Year's resolutions are kind of bullshit. It's a way for you to delay taking an action that's going to change your life, that's going to be transformative to you. And change is big and scary. And the human bias, our minds are kind of biased to want to keep us in the same place. We don't want to change. Sorry, my my headphones keep making my glasses crooked, and so I on here looking crazy. All right. So, but that's really the crux of what I'm saying. We use this concept, this arbitrary New Year's. I'm going to change all of these aspects about my life at New Year's. And we try to make all these changes at one time. And then we end up being back to our baseline by February. So I don't necessarily believe in the concept of New Year's resolutions. I think if you're going to make the change, let's get things started now. And so that's what this live stream is. We're going to talk about this week's content creation prompt for business owners, and we're going to talk about my understanding or my the way I view executing versus deliberating. And I think a lot of people get caught in the deliberation trap. They get that's that like they fail to launch because they get stuck deliberating and they never launch the thing. Okay, so that's what we got. Hello, what's going on, man? Welcome to the live stream. Um, so today what we're going to do is we're going to talk about first. Let me go ahead and put the prompt out there. Um, this week's prompt, and let me pull it up here. This week's writing or content creation prompt is this, and I want to make sure I got it here. Um, the weekly recording prompt is the one thing that makes the prompt is the one thing my product or service does differently and why that actually matters. And I'm going to give you the framework to use so that you can put words behind this. Typically, when I do a video creation prompt, I want you to do something that's 60 or 90 seconds talking about your product or service or what you have in mind for your product or service. So even if this is practice repetition, you get a chance on getting some message clarity. Okay. So the prompt is the one thing that my product or service does differently and why that difference actually matters. This isn't branding. This is execution through clarity. So the constraints, it's got to be 60 to 90 seconds. It's got to be one differentiator only. Don't get into a whole raft of different things. No hedging language. No, it depends on this, that, or the third. And it needs to be focused on benefits to your client, benefits to your intended audience. Okay. So the way that we're going to phrase this is most people think that this is the solution. And think that blank is the solution. We're going to talk about what they're missing is. And then you're going to talk about that's why I do things this way, or that's why I do things like this. Okay. And then you're going to give them the outcome. This matters because it helps people blank. So I hope you're following. Write this down. Number one is their assumption. Most people think blank is the solution. Number two, what they're missing is blank. What they are missing is blank. Number three, that's why the way I do blank is different. And number four, this matters because it helps people blank. All right. So basically, this is kind of the special sauce formula. This is how you're going to signal to the market that you are different, that you have your own approach. And a lot of times it reframes the pricing conversation. I like the live. Hello, hello. So thanks for jumping in. So what I'm doing is I'm providing a concept of a video that people can use to drive business to their product or service. And so I want them to get get the repetitions of recording stuff, because a lot of times people really get stuck at that launching pad. And so I want them to get practice recording. So I'm going to go through the framework. This week's video prompt is this. Okay. First, it's got to be 60 to 90 seconds, one differentiator only, no hedging language, and it needs to be client focused. You talk about how it benefits your target audience. Okay. And so the special sauce framework is, now I want you to write this down. The assumption: most people think that this is the solution. Number two, what they miss. What they're missing is blank. Number three, the special sauce. That's why the way I do blank is different. And then number four is the outcome. This matters because it helps people blank. Plug in your product or service and record a video. Now, I do have a framework that's in my school community. I'll share it here too, because I don't believe in holding things back, but I need to pull up so I make sure I'm in line with the framework in terms of what the rules are around this, because I don't want you to spend a whole lot of time deliberating this. I don't want you to spend a whole lot of time re-recording this. I don't want you to spend a whole lot of time editing this. I want you to get used to the concept of creating video that you're not necessarily 100% thrilled with and publishing it. Because more times than not, when you're first starting out, most people aren't going to see it. But it's important for you to get the repetition, because that's how you get confidence on camera. That's how you get more comfortable talking to camera and publishing stuff and talking about your own products or services. All right. So I will drop that framework here in a little bit. Well, thanks. Unemployed. Well, let's figure out what we can do with the time to make sure that we can get some money in your pocket. Because really, that's what this is. I want people to take whatever they do, product, service, and it can be any service, it can be any product. I want people to be able to take advantage of the social media thing, because right now social media is prioritizing video content. That's really what it does. And so they're basically incentivizing people to create videos, because the more video content they have, the more ads they can sell to, to these corporations and stuff. And that's really the game that's being played here. And so you get a bonus, you get a benefit of creating video, and social media will actually push it out there for you. These social media platforms are prioritizing that. And so if you have a business or an idea or something that you want to drive business to, this is the way to do it. And more times than not, people aren't going to sit around and watch these ads and these commercials that these corporations spend a lot of money on, but they will sit down and watch you talk about something that you love or something that you're passionate about. And so we're taking advantage of the fact that social media is basically incentivizing us to create organic content. And it can't, and we're not talking about fluff. We're not talking about BS. We're not talking about lying or manipulating people. We're saying, hey, you have a problem, I can help you fix the problem. All right. So that's what this week's writing prompt is. All right. So let me go ahead and get into why this matters and why I'm pushing so hard. Because normally in my community, when we're doing videos and we're doing video content, I like to put it on a 3-day sprint. The reason why I like to do it in a 3-day sprint is because 5-day sprints, people normally fizzle out around 3. And more to me, it's more important that you get the repetitions in than striving for perfection. And so if we can shorten that time between recording and publishing, it makes it a lot easier. Yeah, you spend less time sitting there deliberating and thinking and getting in that failure to launch cycle. And so that's why I'm doing this. I don't want people to get caught up in overthinking all of this stuff that they're trying to do. I'd rather you record it and blast it out there. Okay. Because here's the thing, like I said, when you're first starting out, most people aren't going to see your stuff. It takes a while to build an audience. But if you use that gap between your audience discovering you and you creating the content, if you use that gap as a practice thing, by the time your audience is ready to engage with you, you're going to have some level of confidence and proficiency with recording video content for your business and talking about your business as a practitioner of your business. Because we have so much media and so much stuff that's selling us stuff that it's refreshing to hear somebody who actually does the thing talk about how they do the thing and give you information that you can use immediately to create positive outcomes for yourself. There's all kinds of videos. There's so many YouTube searches about how to change your own furnace filter, how to do your own repairs, I'm doing content about how to record yourself on camera. And most of my stuff talks about utilizing your phone first. There's so much entry level content that people are starving for that information. You need to be there to provide it to them. And if it's tied to a purchase decision, if you help somebody, ideally when it comes to help that they can't achieve something they can't achieve on their own without your help, they'll reach out to you. You'll establish that trust. Hey, they gave me this information without any expectation of anything in return. They helped me make an informed purchase decision. So now that this thing is outside of my ability to do it, I'm going to reach out to them because they're the expert and they didn't ask for anything in exchange for the information they gave me. They just gave me a solution to a small problem I had. I'm willing to do business with them. That's how this stuff is. That's kind of the relationship that we're going with moving forward. It's the concept of user generated content versus we pay this marketing firm to come in and shoot an entire commercial for us. And it looks like an ad, so people are already conditioned to skip over it. People don't want to watch it. It doesn't necessarily provide any other value. I think we're kind of getting past that point. Because now even corporations are picking up on it. They want to do ads that make you laugh and smile. That's been one of the oldest things, but now we're really trying to leverage it on social media because right now we're conditioned to skip ads. I don't watch ads. My kids don't watch ads on anything. We are programmed to skip them. And so the idea is utilizing social media to get your message out there without necessarily being an ad. Help somebody. Speak to what you know and give them information they can use in their real life. All right, let me get into it because I rambled enough. And then I'm gonna get back to the video framework of we'll go back past the video framework and all that other stuff and how I want you to actually execute this thing. But I want to talk about the importance of executing. Okay, because that is the thing that's the difference between the people that are having success and the people that are not. I know plenty of beautiful, brilliant, intelligent people who have all the information. They spend so much time collecting information and less time applying that information. And then they beat themselves up because they don't have the outcomes. They know all these things, but then they don't have the outcomes to match. And a lot of times the difference is one person decided I'm gonna go ahead and get my hands dirty and go out here and execute and get the mud on me and get the failure on me so I can learn the lesson so I can execute better. Those are the people that have success. The ones that don't are the ones that sit there and try to engineer success before actually getting any experience. And that's a real thing. I own a youth sports business. One of the things I see a lot of times with parents is we're starting to see this era of parents that want to win without having to compete. The idea of winning without competing is really kind of a sickness in society where I don't want to have to go out there and put myself on the line and risk anything, risk losing, risk failing, but I want to reap all the benefits of winning. That's not how this goes. But I see it in youth sports all the time. I want to drop my kid on this loaded team so that they can experience winning without necessarily having to compete for the win. They just want the trophy. They want to feel good about the trophy at the end of the day. That's what you're competing against. And so your competitive advantage is the fact that you're going to get out here and you're going to go out there and execute and compete and play in the dirt and get outcomes that they're not willing to get because they're not willing to take the risk. They're not willing to take the risk that comes along with actually going out there and executing and possibly failing. Learn the lesson, come back, optimize the thing, and try again. People are trying to avoid the loss. They're trying to avoid the failure. They're trying to avoid coming up short. And that's why they get stuck in this loop of learning, stockpiling knowledge, and then never executing on the knowledge that they have. Back into my outline. I had to get off my rant here. All right. So here's the thing. Let me see. All right. So the reason why I want you to execute, most business owners say, I do a lot of things. It depends on the client. I don't want to box myself in. That's not necessarily flexibility. That's avoidance. They're avoiding picking a lane publicly because it's scary. Because when you pick one opportunity you want to pursue, you think that you're abandoning all these other opportunities that are available to you. Okay. Execution requires you to pick a lane and stay in that lane because you're making a commitment to doing a thing, to making a thing happen for you. And that's scary because once you say it as out loud, it's real. Okay. Ideas are great. Ideas are sexy. They look good. Ideas are amazing. The idea process is one of the best feelings in the world. Coming up with ideas and using your imagination and stuff, that is fun. The part that's not fun is taking each one of those ideas and executing on them, because execution comes with uncertainty, and the human mind hates uncertainty. We will take an incorrect premise over an incomplete premise. This is how our brains are. Okay. And so execution forces you to pick that lane. And make it real, because you're making it real by executing. There's a reason why people want to avoid executing, in terms of creating the thing, stepping out onto the precipice, stepping out on faith and creating the thing and risk failing. You fear being wrong. Okay. If you never execute, you're never wrong. If you never do the thing, you never fail. And so this thing sits in your brain as this very seductive thing that you want to try. As long as you don't execute on the idea, you don't ever have to risk failure. But then you also never risk succeeding. You also never get valuable experience that you can use to make the execution better next time. And people get hung up in that space because it's comfortable. Learning is comfortable. Learning ends up becoming your crutch. Okay. Execution means somebody might disagree with your vision. Somebody might push back. I get troll comments on these live streams all the time. So what? I'm executing the thing they aren't. More times than not, the best they can do is spectate. Okay. Somebody might not care. That's fine. You don't want to keep trying to shotgun blast your message in front of people that do not care. You want people that are aligned with what you do and are willing to sit down and listen to you talk about it. Somebody might expose a flaw. That's fine. They expose a flaw. Now you know the flaw exists. You can either determine if this flaw is something that is mission critical and needs to be addressed, or if this flaw is just somebody's gripe about it. You get to determine those things. This forces people to stay vague, and then they never execute on the thing that they're trying to do. Vague offers end up getting rejected. People who aren't 100% invested in the thing that they're executing tend to not get serious looks. It is what it is. They get ignored. Okay. There's a fear of narrowing. People think that having clarity of focus, clarity of mission, the clarity that execution brings, people think that that means they're narrowing their opportunities. And it really doesn't. It opens opportunities for you. Once you get specialized and you're speaking to a specific audience that attaches and resonates with your message, you get an opportunity to really figure out what problems are bringing them to your doorstep, and you get to come up with novel solutions to fix their problems. Okay. And you get to find new competencies that you didn't know that you had in this narrow audience that you've created by execution. Okay. So they don't want to just turn anyone away. And so what that does is it shrinks their message and marketing down to, or it expands it out, I mean, to this entire audience of people. And it never really speaks to any one person or one set of people individually. Specific execution doesn't reduce opportunity. It attracts the right people, the right audience faster. 3, people fear accountability. This is the reason why they won't execute. They fear accountability. Once you plant your flag and say, this is the thing that I'm committing to, you're locked in. Now you gotta shit or get off the pot. You have to make this thing a reality. You have to stay in your lane until the thing manifests. You have to stay in your lane until the thing is created. It creates standards. Once you say, this is what I'm doing, now you got to live up to it. Execution creates new standards for yourself. Standards are how trust is built. If you can't keep your word to yourself, why would anybody else believe that you're going to keep your word to them? Okay. So the reason why we're focusing on special sauce, the thing that makes your offer unique to you, is because this allows a clarity of message. It allows you to narrowcast and focus on people that are already aligned with what you're offering. Okay. This is, people call it warmer traffic. Okay. You're focusing on warmer traffic, people that are already shown interest in what you're talking about. Okay. So if your offer is real, you should be able to answer this without rambling. We help blank solve blank by doing blank differently. If you can't say it, you need to take it back to the drawing board and come up with more clarity, come up with a more clear message. Okay. And if you can't say it, you're hiding from the execution piece of it. Okay. When both are solved the same way, this is when you can start shipping things. Okay. Execution is a discovery tool. It's not a final draft. Execution allows you to get real world feedback about the thing that you're presenting to the world and make the necessary edits. Okay. You don't need clarity before you execute. Most people say, I need clarity before I execute. That is the wrong order. Execute, feedback, refinement, and then you position yourself. You execute first, then you get the feedback, then you refine the thing, and then you can position it in the right place in the marketplace. All right. We talking business stuff here, y'all. Like, this isn't just content creation stuff. We're talking about business here. Okay. Go out, execute on the offer, and get the real world feedback. You want the negative feedback so that you can deliver better. But if negative feedback scares you, you're not ready to execute the thing. Okay. Understand that when you first start trying to specialize and say the thing that makes you different in the market, it's going to be sloppy. It's going to be all over the place because you're going to have all the different ideas and all the different seats that you can occupy, all the different itches you can scratch, all the different problems you can solve. Okay. That's part of the process. You don't think your way into clarity. You execute your way into clarity. You do the thing, and the feedback you get gives you clarity on it. Okay. You didn't learn how to drive a car by reading the driver's manual. You learned how to drive a car by driving a car. The driver's manual only teaches you so much. You're not going to read enough that's going to teach you how to physically drive a car. You have to go and execute and learn what works and what doesn't work in the real world. Okay. So, tying it into this week's assignment, then I'm gonna go into a little bit more stuff about execution. Record one video explaining the thing that your product or service does differently. Post it without any caveats. Don't hedge on the language. Don't make it some timey language. Don't say this is just my opinion. Don't soften it. Okay. This is the problem that you solve. This is how you do it differently. This is the special sauce. This is what makes you different than this person down the street from you. Okay. You're not carving it into stone. You're just putting a stake in the ground. We can always pull a stake out, and we can always pull a stake out of the ground and plant it somewhere else if we need to. Okay. People who move forward and execute aren't braver. They just execution shape the offer instead of trying to overthink it. Okay. This is what is called, for me, it's called the execution gap. Okay. It really is. It's called the execution gap. And I think a lot of times people get caught up in that space where they're hovering and they don't know, why isn't this going the right way? Why do I have all these amazing ideas and none of these ideas put money in my pocket? It's the fact that they don't execute the ideas. They don't go out and act on them. They don't go out and make the thing real. The reason why I focus on video content, to me, it's the lowest barrier to entry. Video forces you to be clear. It forces clarity because you're doing it in front of an audience and you don't want to confuse the audience. Okay. So the prompt for this week, again, don't soften it. Don't boil it down. Don't make it anything. Okay. Don't try to make it easier for people to digest. 60 to 90 seconds. One differentiator only. No hedging on it. Don't put any hedging language like maybe or it depends or make it contextual or anything along those lines. And no editing. Like, I don't want you to have to edit this or re-record this too much. We're going to go with the assumption. And it's called the special sauce framework. Most people think blank is the solution. Sentence 2, what they're missing is blank. Special sauce. That's why the way I do blank is different. Number 4, this matters because it helps people blank. Make it fit that framework. Depending on what your product or service is, the I could be a we, it could be all this other stuff, but use this framework to be your special sauce framework. Record the video 60 to 90 seconds and publish it on your social media. Tag me in it so I can see it. So I can dap you up and congratulate you for going out and executing the right way, y'all. Because that's really what this is about. I'm going to pull up the framework that I actually have within my community. for how we're doing the video and stuff like that. So where are we at? We're changing the game. All right. So we're kind of basing this off of a good enough framework. Okay. And I want you to focus on that. I want you to get locked in on what's good enough, not perfect, what's not optimal. Right now, I'm operating off a good enough framework. I'm basically recording from my storage space. White background, virtual background, because I'm sitting in a room full of boxes. Okay. It's not optimal, but it's good enough for what I need right now. Okay. All right. So day one, figure out what your good enough studio is. Sometimes your good enough studio is you sitting in front of a window facing the light as it's hitting you, and you're holding your phone up recording vlog style. That's a good enough studio to get your message out there. Your phone has a world-class camera and a very good microphone system. Use it. Okay. Day two is making the video. Make the video according to the framework. And you could skip, you could absolutely truncate day one and day two. Once you have your studio, day one ends up becoming optional. Once you have a studio locked in, a way that you're going to record. Once you have that locked in, day two is going to be recording the video. If you want to truncate those things and make them happen on the same day, more power to you. You are in execution mode, my friend, and I applaud you for it. Okay. But your goal for the second day, or the second step, I should say, is recording the video. Okay. Day three, we're going to post and promote. You're going to get a usable version of that video. It doesn't have to be all filtered out with all the ums and ahs out of it. But you absolutely can. And I think I made another video talking about my video framework. It should be on my YouTube page. Once I make this into a regular video, I will tag it or post a link to it. Okay. But day three is post or promote. Get your video live. And take the feedback. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. 3-step process. I made it 3 days. You can make it, do all this in 1 day if you wanted to. One, pick your method of recording, how you're going to do it. Make sure, you got decent lighting, good audio. That means sit in front of a window where sunlight's coming in, let the sunlight hit you in the face. Use your phone. You got good video, good audio in one device. Record the video, post and promote. That's it. Those are your 3 steps. I'm trying to make this as simple as possible. I really am. But execution comes first. You are not going to perfect the thing by not doing the thing. It never happens like that, y'all. So that's what we got. Again, like I said, for me, I am big about going out and executing. And here's the thing. I'm Mr. ADHD. I got all the bouquet of stuff that comes along with ADHD, fear of rejection, failure to launch. I have all of this stuff. And the way I overcome it is just going out and executing even when I don't feel like executing. I didn't feel like getting on live stream today. I have a whole day of live streaming tomorrow. But this is a commitment I made to myself and my community of people that follow me. And so we're going to do the damn thing. All right. I'm here to help you do the thing. That's what I'm here to do. And I want to do it by hook or by crook. We're going to get the thing done. I need you to let go of your fear of failure. Sorry, I'm putting some notes for myself. All right. And so I want to wrap this up. And I want to do this before New Year's. So before New Year's. The reason why we need to get out there and execute is the end of the year is when most people think a lot and execute very, very little. They're in shutdown mode. They don't really want to. They're depending on future self to execute in ways that present self ain't going to do. Present self is taking a wager that future self is going to have this magic ability to focus. They're going to have this determination to get things done. And so you're wagering a lot on your future state of mind. And once present self becomes future self says, I ain't doing all that. And that's paradox. Like I said, end of year is when most people think a lot and execute very little. New Year's resolutions are usually planned without any kind of motion attached to them. And that's why they end up falling apart by February. Execution before January puts you ahead of all the people that are still getting ready. They're locked into getting ready mode. And some people never get out of get ready mode. They over prepare. And in this society, we are obsessed with all this preparation stuff and not about the doing the thing and learning in the process, learning in motion. All right. Execution gap is a space between having an idea and taking the first viable option. Most people don't lack ideas. It's follow through that they lack. They're scared to fail. And that is a normal feeling, y'all. But sometimes you have to lean into that thing that scares you a little bit. Planning really does feel productive. Like planning feels good. Like you sit down, you're writing out stuff. You're like, you're planning for all these contingencies. It makes you feel like you have the big brain and you're smart. But really, sometimes it turns into this crutch. We're going to plan everything. We're going to plan all the way to the end. And then things change midstream, and now your plan is worthless. And now you have real-time feedback to implement. To me, that real-time feedback that you get is more valuable than the plan that you walked in with. But planning feels productive. Execution creates friction. Execution exposes your weak points. It's not a bad thing. It really isn't. People protect their ideas by never starting. We treat our ideas like little babies. If we wall them off and never expose them to the world, then they're going to grow into big ideas that never get born. As long as it's not public, as long as I don't execute on the thing, I can't fail. It belies the underlying fear of failure that we have in the society. I talked about it. I own a youth sports training business. I do all the operations and website and all the other stuff, admin stuff. My boy does the training. There is an epidemic of people that want to win without having to compete. It colors every layer of society right now. We have an entire generation of people that want to win without having to compete, without risking failing. They want all the rewards of going out and achieving without necessarily having to put in the work to do it. And it's not a good thing. And to me, it manifests as I'm scared to fail publicly. And for me, the failure is the most important part of the execution, because the thing that you don't do, the thing that you didn't execute right, you get the feedback on how to execute it better. Okay. As long as it's not public, it can't fail. Is very damaging. Execution forces reality, and that's uncomfortable. Okay. Execution breaks down at the content side of things. Content is the first public step for most businesses. Putting your business out there on Front Street is typically the very first thing that people want to do in terms of generating business for themselves. Okay. The reason why they don't want to record their own content, they want to outsource it, is because they want to outsource the thinking of the business. And to me, the most important thing is showing that there's a human being behind your business and not just some marketing agency that's doing the work for you. Okay. Recording content forces clarity. It forces commitment. It forces accountability. Forces you to be on message. Avoiding content is typically avoiding the execution. It's not avoiding the creativity. It's avoiding the narrowing of your message and locking into a specific audience. So that's why I make content kind of the first layer in terms of how to build your marketing machine. I always go with content first. Plus, social media platforms are starving for your content. They will prioritize it because it makes them money. And so why not utilize the mutually beneficial nature of the beast? If they're starving for your content, give it to them. But make sure your content puts money in your pocket and drives business to your doorstep. Okay. The thing is, the 3 execution blockers are this. People fear being bad. You're going to suck. Your first videos are going to suck. That's just the game. It's part of learning. The first time you dribbled a basketball, you sucked. The first time you drove a car, you weren't good at it. That is okay. That's where the learning comes. Y'all, that's where the learning piece of it comes. That's where that learning piece shows up and makes itself available and says, "Hey, I'm ready to go." Beginners hate feeling like beginners. I'm asking you, I'm begging you, I'm imploring you. Get over that shit and embrace the concept of being the novice, because that's how you get better. You, in your beginning level marketing, is outperforming this person that has expert level knowledge and zero execution. Okay? They fear being wrong. Execution tests the idea. Why would you not want real world feedback if your idea is bad before you dump tens of thousands of dollars into it? Why would you not want that real world feedback? That real world feedback is invaluable. It's a game changer. It will say, this thing works as it is, or this thing could work if you change this, before you dump tens of thousands of dollars into it and hundreds of hours. Okay? Test the idea, get the feedback. Fear visibility. Being seen creates pressure. More times than not, nobody's going to see you when you first start out. And if you're lucky, those lucky few, people won't remember the mistakes as much as they remember what you did for them. So if you showed up on their feed and solved a problem for them, they're not going to worry about how many times you said or ah or the words you mispronounced. You solved a problem for them. When it's time to make the purchase decision, you're top of mind. You do that enough, you end up dominating, and you become the only person they come to. Okay? That's what we got to lock in on. Execution isn't finishing. We got to reframe how we think about executing an idea, executing a thing, getting started on a thing, initiating a thing. We have to reframe the way we think about it. It is not a finishing line. It is a starting point. Okay? Execution is starting small and repeating until we get better at it, until we get proficient at it. Okay? When I was really locked into my training cycle and really locked into, I'm going to deadlift 600 pounds, it took me a long time, a lot of reps to get up to the point where I felt comfortable holding 500 pounds in my hands. And then I got up to 6. But it took repetition and repetition and repetition and repetition. I did not walk in day one and say, I'm going to lift 600 pounds and lift 600 pounds successfully. It did not happen. I had to work my way up to it. I had to, my wrists and grip strength and all the other stuff had to build up an adaptation so that it can handle that kind of weight. You are doing the same thing. Execution is not a finish line. It's the starting line. It's how you get the real world feedback to know, hey, this is how I can get better. Starting small and repeating it. Get the reps. Confidence comes after reps, not before. Anybody that walks in fully confident without executing a thing is a fool. You're being led astray. If you walk in 100% confident in the thing that you're executing, never have executed anything like that before, never have done anything like that before. Okay. I'd rather have that kind of marginal confidence that comes with knowing, hey, I executed this thing. I think I got this, versus this is a piece of cake, even though I've never done the thing before. That's, to me, I trust the first. Okay. But confidence comes, you build your confidence through successful repetition. You learn what to do and what not to do. Okay. So content is the safest execution step. We're not running ads, we're not doing inventory, there's no tech stack. You're just putting your ideas out there and seeing a response to them. Okay. That way you can validate what kind of technology do I need to build on this product I'm selling. How do I optimize the product so that so that it meets most people's expectation? Okay. You haven't put any money in ads. You're utilizing the fact that social media prioritizes video right now. You're taking advantage of that. We're not dumping money into ads yet. And then the process is you create a social media post. If people are responding to it, that's when you say, okay, let me put some money behind the thing and make it an ad so more people see it. But you get to test out different marketing messages. And the only way you do that is by executing. It's the only way you do it. And it's the lowest risk way to move an idea forward. But there is a risk attached to it, y'all. You got to take a risk. You're not going to 100% insulate yourself from feedback or criticism and be successful at utilizing social media to drive business to your business. It just doesn't work. You have to take the risk. As long as you aren't ripping people off or selling them fraudulent services or products, you're good. If you're doing this in good faith and you really want to help solve people's problems, you're fine. You couldn't be wrong. You're allowed to be wrong. As long as you take being wrong as a lesson and learn how to be right next time. Okay. We already talked the special sauce prompt into the ground. But the way we're going to say it is, I want you to record a 60 to 90-second video talking about your product or service. And the prompt is, this is the one thing my product or service does differently and why that matters to you as the consumer. So it's got to be audience focused. Okay. And when I say audience focused, I'm not talking about all the specs and tech specs or things that you care about. I'm talking about things that are going to be tangible benefits to your client. Okay. If you're offering air filtration, you're not going to sit there and talk about the types of filters you use and all that other stuff. We're talking about it cleans microbial, like it cleans bacteria and stuff and mildew particles and all that stuff. It cleans it out of the air so that your family is breathing comfortably. It's a benefit. You're breathing clean air because indoor air pollution is a real thing. And so we're solving that problem by our air filtration system. That's the message. You're being strict. You're being precise about the benefit that it provides to people. All right. That's what's important. Because people don't care about all the bells and whistles. When I bought my camera, I bought it because I liked the image and it was on sale, and it can give me a pretty good image being on sale. I didn't buy it because of all the ND filters and all the other stuff. I bought it because it served a purpose for me, and that's how you got to view it. Your audience don't care about all the things you care about as a specialist. They just want to make sure that you can put your skills into motion to benefit them. All right. 60 seconds, one idea, no disclaimers, post it and move on. All right. So before New Year's, I want to put this challenge out to y'all. Before New Year's, I want you to execute once. I want you to, this entire video live stream is about recording content for your business. Okay. Use the prompt, record it, and post it. That's what I want you to do. You got about 2 or 3 days to get it done. Perfect timing. Okay. Execute once before January 1st. And maybe the video content isn't the execution piece that you need. Maybe it's clarifying your message and even asking your friends on Facebook or friends on Twitter, or friends on whatever social media platform. Hey guys, I'm doing this. What are some problems that you're having in this area that I can solve? Just get out there and execute the thing. Do the thing. Take a step towards the goal that you're trying to do, and step out publicly is kind of what I'm saying. I hope that makes sense. Don't wait for the momentum to carry it. You generate your own momentum. You make your own luck. You set your own stage. Do not sit around and wait for January 1st to roll around and you make this resolution that you're not going to keep. And then you got 5 other resolutions banging around in your brain. Your brain's trying to find equilibrium. It's trying to find that homeostasis thing where it's back to its normal. And so you're going to make all these changes on New Year's Day. And by January, your brain has forced you back into your normal way of doing things. And now you feel like a failure. You're beating yourself up. Don't wait till January 1st to make a change. I've been saying it all month. Resolutions are BS. It's time to leave that idea in the past. If you want to make the change, start making the small changes today. It doesn't have to be anything major or world changing. Okay. Starting now beats planning later. There are people that have been working on their business plan for 8 years. In that 8 years, if they had executed on one piece of that business plan, they would be a lot further along now than they are. But they still have this business plan that they're refining and editing and all this other stuff. That's not how it works. Execution is rewarding. Planning is not. Okay. Most people don't fail. They delay failure. Failure is important to the process. Taking an L is important to the process. So you can learn how to execute better and be your best self. Execution separates builders from the dreamers. Launch something before the year ends. That's the challenge I'm laying down to you. If you got any questions, hit me up. If you want to be in the community, if you want to be in the school community where we focus on taking your content ideas and turning them into business ideas, you can join the content cash machine at school, SKOOL. I can post the link. You're probably going to see the link in the description of whatever video you're watching. Yeah, that's what I want you to do. Join the community. I do have an entire, I've taken my stand store and really tried to make it a parking place for all my tools that I use to create content, to generate ideas for myself. I have an entire library of AI prompts that I use to write marketing materials and do business plans and analyze businesses that I'm working with. I have all that stuff available in my stand store if you guys are interested in that. But realistically, when I hop on here, I don't hold anything back. If you got questions about aspects of content creation for business, or you just need somebody to kind of coach you up and give you the right push in the right direction, that's what the live streams are for, to interact. I don't hold stuff back on my live streams. If you ask me, I'm going to tell you. All right. And if I don't know, I'll tell you I don't know. But that's what this is for. Understand, basically everybody gets rewarded for executing on the idea. Planning, not so much. The most important data you're going to find is the data that you get from going out and trying the thing and having a successful or unsuccessful effort, coming back to the drawing board, refining the thing and relaunching it. You keep doing that in different iterations, and that's how you win eventually. Sitting around and planning things to death, that is a stalling tactic. Accumulating all this knowledge, you got to download another ebook or take another course. That's a stalling tactic. It limits you from actually getting the stuff done the right way. I do appreciate your time. Thanks for tuning in. This has been Brian with the Cash Content Machine. If you got questions and you're seeing this, hit me up. I'm always available to answer questions. I do it, like I said, I have my free group and my paid group. Paid group, you get a little bit more, you get more one-on-one coaching with me, but the free group, I try to share content in there and drop knowledge in there as much as possible. Appreciate y'all time. I'll talk to y'all later. Peace.